This is the Ruckus and The Menace Sports Podcast.
Oh no! We suck again!
I'm getting confused. What game are you calling?
I'm calling both games!
It is caught by Kelsey! Touchdown! Kansas City!
I need 3 of those things, baby! We ain't done yet! We ain't done yet! You like that? You like that? I like that!
How's it going, Ruckus and The Menace Sports fam? You're watching episode number 98 of the Ruckus and The Menace Sports Podcast. I'm Spence the Menace.
And I am Ruckus, always causing a ruckus, never not causing a ruckus.
And on this episode, we will have our starting lineup where we will go over notable transactions in a quick take fashion. Our Eastwood segment, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We talk about some playoffs in our high heat. No color commentary this week, but we will be bringing to you a promo of a primetime game that will be airing later this week. And our stud and dud to wrap it up. And this is the last episode before a big move for you, Ruckus.
Yep.
As we will have no episode next week, so episode number 99 will likely have a small delay due to Memorial Day. We probably don't want to do that during the evening unless you feel like it, or we just decide no episode that week and just kind of chill, whichever.
I'll let you know, and honestly, it probably won't be all that much of a headache because it's literally just what's over in my room and other excess furniture that we'll buy later or get later. But yeah, if you missed last week's episode or haven't watched it yet, I am closing on a house, so I am on my last week until they get everything straightened out. But
hey, it's not like we haven't had to miss an episode or two due to a move.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited. We'll see what happens. Also, a big move for us is we are starting to gain more traction as far as subs go. We are at now 27, which whoopty-do. Like, that's not a lot, but hey, it's big for us. We're small, like extremely small, but we're having fun doing what we do best here. Take that as you will.
And our March to October runs are still in progress. Even though we will not have Ruckus and the Menace episodes as far as the actual podcast, our March to Octobers at this point right now are still moving as normal. At least at this point. I know that mine will be at a guarantee that it's going to stay in its weekly flow. Ruckus may or may not have a guarantee unless he's able to record stuff and get through the move. But as far as mine, you guys will have episodes for that weekly and may even have a small little side bit sometime later as well. As far as future projects, a second March to October on my end may be a possibility. Who knows? Who knows what that's fully going to look like for me yet, because I potentially want to get into Road to the Show, maybe, or even just kind of do some other little side things, but I know that life has happened and it's the summertime. So I'm going to have kind of my schedule is wound up a little bit with ball right now. And then I hit major vacation season right around August and September and October. So, and then the holidays kick in. But most of all that is during football. So projects on the way are are TBD. But I hope to be able to try and do at least something more. Whether or not it's going to easily be another March to October or my potential Road to the Show project, who knows?
Yeah. All right. So, do we want to start with the football news first or baseball? I feel like we could probably just segue into baseball for now.
Just segue into baseball because we have at least we got 2 stories of baseball, which then can segue us into 3 stories of football. So,
all right. So I'll start it off. The first one, the Major League Baseball agrees with the contract with Roku for Sunday games. So what this means? So Roku is known for like mainly streaming things for free. Like Rich Eisen's show is on Roku. He always advertises it at the end of his little short videos of visit him on the Roku channel. Also, a big partner. So the MLB announced the agreement to Monday as of when we're recording, and will take effect immediately. The first of 18 Sunday games scheduled for Roku this season will take place this upcoming Sunday when the Boston Red Sox visit the St. Louis Cardinals at 1 p.m. Eastern. Roku will continue to stream Sunday games throughout the season until September 15th. For fans wary of games scattered across multiple paid subscription platforms, this is good news. Roku is a free service. Peacock is not. Fans not familiar with Roku will be tasked with figuring out how to access the service on their smart TVs and other devices. Roku is available as an app on multiple platforms. Games will also be available via MLB.TV subscriptions with no blackouts.
Fortunately, I have a smart TV. Degree of difficulty to be able to access this should be low. But whether or not I'm going to even have the time to be able to do said baseball via the Roku, that remains to be seen, but not out of the possibility.
Also, it's kind of cool that if you already have MLB.TV, or if you are a T-Mobile subscriber for your phone plan and whatnot, you get MLB.TV for free, but that was at the beginning of the season when it came to registering. Now you have to pay whatever the big fee is. I think it's like $60 or $70 for the season. I don't remember. But yeah, so if you have MLB.TV, you can watch the Roku sponsored content or the streams for free without blackouts. We'll see. I'll see it and believe it because MLB.TV is known for having some blackout restrictions due to markets on things, but that's here nor there. Spence, you want to talk about Paul Skeens?
Paul Skeens has made his major league debut. They have really hyped up this one since this is the first major debut for a player of this magnitude since Strasburg. Since Steven Strasburg, who I have seen as a rookie. And that to me was definitely it's a very, very exciting moment to have a major player of this nature debut in this fashion.
Also,
He threw 4.
Go ahead.
He threw 4 innings, 3 earned on 6 hits, struck out 7, and gave up a homer. His homer that he gave up was to Nico Horner, who is normally not known for having a whole bunch of power like that now. After his first start, he does have a 6.75 ERA. Apparently, he clocked over 100 miles an hour 17 times. Struck out 7, and the Pirates did win the debut, but Skeens did get a no decision. It's a little different than Strasburg. Certainly different than Strasburg, but His girlfriend, Livy Dunn, was there 100 miles an hour on 17 to 84 pitches. Allowed at least one runner on in every inning that he started, and was pulled after a pair of hits, leading the fifth. 3 runs on 6 hits with 2 walks and hit a batter. So he is learning. And this was a very, very let this be a lesson to you game. But I think Skeens over time, if they keep him healthy, he's going to be just fine.
Yep. And what I was going to add before, that wasn't super important, but I thought it'd be kind of funny to note on the Pat McAfee show, when they were hyping up the debut of Paul Skeens, they were talking all about the caboose he's got. All about it. Anyways, let's head over to the NFL news and talk about
and I'm going to say, in speaking of ESPN, which the Pat McAfee show is on, ESPN will have to find a new rules analyst, as John Perry is leaving ESPN to become the officiating liaison for the Buffalo Bills. That is... So we will have at least one new face for Joe Buck and Troy Aikman to try and see if they can have rule stuff come in.
Well, first they gotta establish a run, Joe. That was my worst Troy Aikman impression ever. Never again.
And of course they... I thought you would have done something a little more with like cowboy bias, because that's exactly what Aikman has.
Me and my dad,
Aikman has it.
Okay, so my dad always makes a joke whenever Aikman and Joe are on about how the teams should establish a run or whatever, and we're just like, yeah, Joe, no shit. Or not Joe, Troy.
But we're at the point now where just I don't know why we even care about Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. If you're gonna watch a Monday Night Football game and they're on, just watch the Manning cast.
Hell yeah.
Just watch the Manning cast, because Joe Buck and Troy Aikman just suck the life out of watching a football game.
I mean, you could also say in general.
No wonder why Fox just decided to just yeet him over to ESPN.
Well, he was not only doing that just for Monday Night Football, but in general, like in other sporting events, like the World Series.
Oh, Buck with baseball. Oh yeah,
which was he was a very iconic voice, but yeah, we could talk about Joe Buck another time. Yeah. Can I talk about the big signing, and then you can go to the other signing?
Well, we have pretty much two major extensions. One of them on offense and one of them on defense.
I got the one for offense, and who is that Pokemon? And that Pokemon is a quarterback named Jared Goff, of the Detroit Lions.
Earned.
So Goff just got a 4-year, $212 million contract extension that includes $170 million guaranteed. I agree too. He earned that. It also helps that he had great leadership under Dan Campbell.
Oh yeah, but I don't think without MCDC and Johnson buying into him, that Goff would have been able to do it. But I think that Goff was a very easy quarterback to buy into. He just got stuck with a lot of coaching that either wasn't able to get him in the right direction or just didn't want it. Cough, cough, Jeff Fisher, cough, cough, Sean McVay. And this just shows you that though the Rams won the Stafford deal on the short term, maybe the Lions ended up with the last laugh after all.
I think they
Especially if
definitely
Goff
showed
lives up
that.
to that deal.
I think they got the last laugh when they went to the NFC Championship game after having win or having a playoff drought / win drought for 50 years or 30
Yeah,
years.
let alone also not really being able to play a home game in a playoff either. And I think that was so nice that I think they did that twice.
So, do you want me to continue with the defense or?
Well, I was going to look at the other side of the ball here. I just kind of was hoping you had another segue to kind of go into it. But on the defensive side of the ball, we actually move over to the NFC South as Antoine Winfield Jr. and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have agreed to a 4-year, $84.1 million contract. $45 million of this is guaranteed, the most ever given to a safety. He is the highest paid defensive back in NFL history. The first time in modern history that a safety has set this mark. Winfield's good. It just shocks me that the value is high, but Tampa has focused on re-signing just everybody that matters. And a lot of their core. Baker Mayfield just got 3 years, $100 million. Mike Evans with 2 years, $41 million. Levante David got 8.5. And now Antoine Winfield. Cincinnati receiver T. Higgins is the only player who has received a franchise tag and has not yet agreed to a long-term deal. Higgins has requested for a trade, but has until July 15th to agree to a long-term contract, or he's going to have to play the 2024 season on the franchise tender. However, Higgins and Winfield are represented by the same agent.
All right, all right. How are we feeling about given the stink? Go ahead.
Well, let's get the good, bad, and the ugly going.
All right, the Clint Eastwood stink eye starts in 3, 2, 1. Whoa, whoa, whoa. All right, Spennis, what is good
and roll that beautiful bean footage.
Oh, I already did that. Sorry.
But the good this week, the Western Conference playoffs in the NBA. Are there things in the East that are okay? Yes. But the West by far, as far as competitiveness in a playoff and having the best 4 teams there, it is clearly the Western Conference.
Amen.
We will talk more about this as far as what we've had be so good here in the next segment of the High Heat when we talk about the NBA playoffs. But that is our good this week as far as the quality of play in the Western Conference playoffs. The not so good this week also stays in basketball, as Iowa's head women's basketball coach has retired and will have the assistant take over. Kind of timely for her to retire after Caitlin Clark had gone on and now has become a rookie for the WNBA's Indiana Fever. But I think that this is just a changing of an era because they had such a special run there.
Oh yeah,
in Iowa, and I think it was a good time to change the guard. But I think at the same time, I wonder how much the drop off is going to be. And now our ugly for this week, who we may also consider our dummy of the episode. And that is none other than, drum roll please, Bronny James! As he is choosing to remain in the NBA draft after getting medical clearance.
Yeah, I question the medical clearance when it comes to the NBA, but also I feel like this is a dumber decision on Bronny's part compared to Furphy's position on going to the draft, because with Furphy with the KU Jayhawks, he played 1 year as a freshman after going into I believe he was from Australia, so he was through like some type of program that gets him to KU, and then goes to the NBA draft the same year that his team does terrible. Whereas in Bronny's case, he literally just didn't play much at all because they wanted to control and make sure that he doesn't have a heart attack on the field like he did when he was doing a private practice at the facility by himself, I believe. So to me, yeah, they probably fixed him up good enough to where he would be able to like play, but I have my doubts. I think he'll do good in the league. I just don't know what time frame that would be where he would actually be good. And number two, who's willing to take the bullet and take a chance on Bronny? Because I'm gonna be honest, it's gonna be I don't think it's gonna be LeBron's team.
Here is where I am at. I think if Bronny were to be even in the pool for the NBA draft this year, he is going to finish out as a UDFA. He will be undrafted. He is not ready. He's not good enough at this point. Because though Bronny was
astounding in his at the private school he was at I believe why is it blanking my mind right now?
Sierra Canyon.
Yeah, with his brother. He was with his brother Bryce.
He wasn't even the good. He's not even the talented brother. Bronny is not even the most talented brother out of the two of them.
And plus, it's high school. This isn't college. And in college, whenever I would look at highlights for Bronny, it suffered from the syndrome that I have suffered in my career playing basketball, and that is just watching the ball go around instead of actually doing things with the ball. And it doesn't look good, especially when you're trying to make big money and or get a spot on a team when there's a lot of talent still out there. LeBron...
And there's talent that moves well without the ball. There is talent in the NBA that moves incredibly well without the ball.
Also, when you're talking G League or like development leagues, good luck when it comes to the vast amount of people that go into the G League to try to get into the NBA. It is a very slim. There's a very slim few amount of players that make it from the G League to the NBA.
Bronny will only hit the highest level because of this one specific word: nepotism. Yes, this screams Nepo baby.
So here's my ending thought on the whole Bronny situation. Yeah, it sucks, or it looks really bad for him to enter the NBA draft because of the fact that he had health issues, like severe health issues. Like, let me put this into perspective. So, speaking of NFL, like I accidentally slipped on earlier. J.J. Watt played as a pass rusher, right? Or was he?
Yeah, he was a pass rusher. He was the D end.
He had heart issues too. But here's the thing: J.J. Watt is proven. Bronny is not. So when I see reports of him almost dying on the court whenever he's about to go into his freshman year at USC, do I think, is he actually going to do something? Well, I guess we'll just have to see what happens. But when we see what happens, he's really not getting that much time on the court, which makes sense because they're trying to, like I said, just like 2 minutes ago.
They eased him in, but he's not a walking triple-double like his daddy at that age.
I think, if anything, if we want to play the optimism card, I think if he gets anywhere, it's probably not on the best team, but at least he would have a chance.
He's a second-round pick that could end up going to the Lakers. He is a second-round pick that could, and the Lakers would only do it just because LeBron said so.
Also, I saw his combine tape just before the episode. This episode was starting to air, and it looks good. I'm just not sure how this translates to the NBA level, because the NBA is way harder than college. If you thought a person in their prime or someone that was really good in college was translating their game to the NBA, it is way harder than you think.
Oh, baby.
I'm not gonna go too hard on Bronny. I'm just stating the fact.
I just had to be a savage for once.
I mean, yes, it's warranted to be like, this guy's kind of a dummy because he just didn't show it. But at the same time, you gotta be like, okay, maybe and something will happen. We just don't know. A miracle would have to happen.
He needs to. Well, honestly, his best bet right now is to back out. I would say for this year, back out. Back out.
Yeah.
Go back to college. Get another bit of development in under you. Get stronger. Get your legs back underneath of you a little more than you were when you were kind of climbing your way out of it this past season.
Yeah, I mean, worse things have happened. The Ball brothers happened like years ago, and their dad had them play overseas. And then
I think that was just LaMelo. I think it was just LaMelo and LiAngelo.
Yeah,
Lonzo I think
was drafted.
Yeah, Lonzo. Now, Lonzo, I think he has had his career be more derailed due to questionable performance early on, but now it's become the injury bug.
Yep, the legs,
I think it's the knee. I think it's more so the knee than anything else.
So it's not clear. It's not like the Derrick Rose effect where you're just injury prone with the Bulls, and then when you play for other teams, you magically come back.
Well, I think the major injury occurred when he was a Bull. But I think that there's been that. But I think he had a little bit of something like this in New Orleans. He had something like this in New Orleans. He had an injury So I think the injury bug has gotten to Lonzo. But I think the issue has been more that Lonzo was finally starting to get good when all of a sudden this derailment happened.
Yeah. All right. So let's segue into a heavier, heated segment, and that is the playoffs for both the NHL and NBA. Which one do you want to do first?
Well, we are starting with you with the NHL.
All right. Here is my summary of the NHL playoffs currently. Not really doing a whole lot with that, but here we go. So the first ones we're gonna do is the Bruins versus Panthers, and so far the Panthers and the Tchucks have been beating up on the Bruins as they lead the series 3-1, and Game 5 is on the day that this episode comes out on YouTube and other platforms. We'll see what happens there. The Panthers have just been kind of beating them up, like I just said. The Hurricanes and Rangers has been
It was all Rangers until it wasn't.
it's just kind of like, okay, what's going on here? Is the hurricane finally catching up to New York? Are the floods happening again? Anyways, Game 6 happens on Thursday. Tonight they face the Hurricanes, and the Hurricanes soaked up the Rangers and spit them back out. But the Rangers still lead 3-2 in the series. Hopefully they don't mess us up. Hopefully they don't blow it. And then you have the Oilers versus the Canucks. And Game 5 is on Thursday. Or Game 4 is tomorrow. My bad. So far, the series is in the hands of the Vancouver Canucks by a 1-game lead. They lead the series 2-1 over the Oilers. And then the Colorado Avalanche versus the Dallas Stars. Tonight is the game, Game 4, and it is currently Dallas Stars 1, Colorado Avalanche 0 in the first. We'll see who...
it's currently that in the first, but is Colorado leading the series?
The Dallas Stars are leading the series 2-1.
Yeah, because I think Dallas has gotten better over the last bit of time.
Yep. So we'll see what happens there, but yeah, I hope the Panthers beat the Bruins. Sorry, Boston fans, not sorry. All right, NBA talk.
All right. We are now in the conference semifinals as well. And I am going to start with the undercard of the Eastern Conference. The Boston Celtics currently lead the Cleveland Cavaliers 3-1. Boston took Game 1. Cleveland stunned Boston in Game 2, where Boston has had an infamous reputation of being a bad Game 2 team. But Boston has turned it around over the last 2 games and won them to get ahead. Game 5 is back at TD Garden with the parquet floor on Wednesday night on TNT. The New York Knicks and Indiana Pacers. This one has been a lot more box office than what we thought. The Knicks took their first 2 at home, 121-117 and 130-121 respectively. However, a major injuries have plagued them. As the series went to Indianapolis, the Pacers took games 3 and 4, 111-106, and crushed the Knicks in Game 4, 121-89. Game 5 is tomorrow at the time of this release of the episode in Madison Square Garden at 8 p.m. on TNT, 8 p.m. Eastern. And now to the other side. The Dallas Mavericks lead the Oklahoma City Thunder 2-1 in a very tight series. The Oklahoma City Thunder took game 1. However, Dallas stole one at Chesapeake Arena in game 2, winning 119-110. Game 3, Dallas holds serve on their home floor, winning by 4. In the second quarter, because Dallas and Oklahoma City played first, or actually are playing second, because Boston just defeated Cleveland 109-102 today in Game 4. Dallas currently leads the Thunder 44-33 with about 4.5 to go in the first half. I think this Dallas series is going to go probably 6 games if Oklahoma City can get back. If they can get back into this one or try and fight back in game 5, Oklahoma City may have a solid chance to make this series go 6 for sure, if not 7.
I agree.
But Oklahoma City must steal at least 1 in Dallas, which has proven to be an easier said than done thing. Now the other side, which I definitely think this one is going to go 7 for sure. And that is the Minnesota Timberwolves and Denver Nuggets. The Timberwolves won the first 2 in Minnesota. Or actually, no, the first 2 were in Denver. They won the first 2 in Denver as they beat the Nuggets by 7 and by 26. And then the Nuggets come back and beat them by 27 and 8, respectively. Game 5 of this series that has been super electric and the road team winning every time is at Denver on TNT on the night of our release of this episode. So I definitely am going to think that Denver, the Denver Minnesota series is going to go 7. The Dallas Oklahoma City series has the potential to go 6. Boston should win this in 5 against Cleveland. And then Knicks Pacers, it just all depends on who's healthier. I think the Pacers could win it in 6 could win it in 6 and win it quickly. But since the home team has won every single game, the Knicks could be very well in contention at 7 with 7 games. But it just all depends on how much healthier the Pacers are than the Knicks. Simple as that.
All right. Are we ready for our...
Yep. We have no color commentary this week due to just a lack of debate content. However, we will have a primetime game, a rare thing that we manage to throw in every once in a while. And our primetime game for the episode, which will be released a little later on, is a captain-based squads game in Diamond Dynasty. Ruckus and I will play one head-to-head game of MLB The Show of 7 innings long, where our teams will be themed around captains in the game that we have, and we create teams out of it. Ruckus, your 2 captains and the boosts that you had to look for your roster.
All right, so for my captain, I have Byron Buxton, and for what I needed to do was I needed players that had a vision count of about 60 or under.
60 or less. Yep,
Yeah.
less than 60.
So I did that. So at this point, I should have some power and run boost with Buxton, which means he's gonna be faster than he needs to be, but that's okay. It's enough to maybe steal a couple bases on Spennis and get an advantage. And then my captain for the pitching is Robbie Ray, but I decided not to use the boost on him because you need at least 7-ish players from the Diamondbacks to be on your team, and I don't have very many good ones. I want to beat Spennis, not lose to Spennis. It's the name of the game here.
All right. So I ended up completing the Derek Jeter storylines.
The Jeter.
And I am doing the Derek Jeter Captain of Captains card, which means that Derek Jeter can give boosts to players of the Captains series. I had to get 9 of them for a tier 3 boost. And I did it. And I succeeded. As I will have 9 captains, 9 Captain Series players for my hitting captain boost, which will consist of 12 batting clutch, 12 contact versus righties, 12 pitching clutch, and plus 10 walks per 9. My pitching captain, in honestly, it makes me sick to say it, I am staying with the Yankee theme, and I will have Whitey Ford on a tier 1 boost, as I had 9 Yankees in my squad. I needed to have 16 for the max out. So I get 5 pitching clutch, 5 walks per 9, plus 7 power versus lefties, and plus 7 to the plate vision with my boosts. Notable players I will have on my squad to deal with Ruckus and his base stealing. I will have Pudge Rodriguez at catcher. I have my Mike Trout in center field, who has no captain boosting ship at all. I will have the season awards lightning Bobby Witt on my bench because I have to have Jeter in at short. So positions were quite limited when it came to that, as Bobby Witt will only have third base. But currently, my third baseman who has to get the captain boost is Eugenio Suarez. Actually, I could put Bobby Witt at third immediately no matter what, but I may make that adjustment, just depending. Just to see if that works. And does it still work for this? Yes. So actually, I will be putting in Bobby Witt at third base. And reconfiguring some things in my lineup around. Because that is just too good. It's too good to have. Too good to, or I should say, too good to not have.
All right. So are we ready for our studs and duds?
Yes. Yes,
all right.
Let's get to the
I'll go first.
Undone.
All right. So my stud for this episode is Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic propelling the Nuggets to a 2-2 tie in the lead for the semifinals, and also just a baller move by Jamal Murray, shooting a half-court shot, looking at Kevin Harlan whenever he makes it in, and Kevin Harlan gives him the whoo face, like, let's go, and it was epic. Not as epic for the Timberwolves, though. I'm sorry, Ant-Man and friends, but no. And then my dud is the MLB because so much for the games becoming shorter, especially when a pelican enters the chat at Oracle Park. There was a literal pelican just vibing in the outfield at a Giants game. I believe it was today. Let me look at the report. Pelican flies on the field, captivates. Oh, this was something that was on Saturday. So there you go. Saturday happened. A pelican flies onto the field, captivating fans during the Giants-Reds game. Originally appeared on NBC Sports. A pelican flew onto the field on the top of the 5th inning. It flew out into the outfield deck area. And yeah, I just thought it was funny that there was a pelican that was just kind of chilling and then flying around, flapping its wings. Spennis, go ahead.
All right. My stud for this week is Tress Way, the Commanders punter, in being able to, in a very classy fashion, be able to work out a deal to be able to get tickets to LSU Oklahoma as an exchange for giving up his jersey number to Jaden Daniels. Did not ask for a whole bunch of money. He's just like, I just want tickets to LSU Oklahoma because this is the first year that Oklahoma's in the SEC. Jaden Daniels is also from LSU. They want be something to try and do together, something along those lines. And everyone here in the Commanders fan base just knows the class act that Tress Way is, but also knows that we mostly just know Tress Way in wearing number 5. So we're going to see a different number from him. However, though sad, Tress Way has done it the right way. And my dud goes to probably one of the best receivers of all time, Jerry Rice, for just getting salty about his son's draft position that he ended up in, as he fell 3 rounds later than what mock drafts were projecting him. Just because you think your son's a 3rd round talent worth 3rd round money does not mean that he's going to be that when these teams are push comes to shove and making decisions.
Also, it could have. I feel like it would have been a lot worse if it was a Sanders kid, because Dion didn't want his kid to go to certain teams because of the effect of the climates and stuff like that too, and just in general, like random demands they asked for. I feel like this is tame.
I think the blow got softened enough because I believe Brendan Rice ended up with the Chargers, but a 7th round pick. So I think that's not. Though we ended up in probably the most accommodating situation. I think that the slide may have been larger than what Jerry Rice anticipated. Most of the time, you're generally going to see like a son, like a father like that just be more happy that his son is in the NFL. It's like, come on, Jerry. Even though we knew that you were going to be a good player, the generation gaps and talent levels sometimes don't necessarily add up. Cough, cough, Bronny, cough, cough.
Oh, would you hush?
He's not gonna get drafted. I had to do it because we kind of addressed it earlier.
And then you put more ranch dressing than there was needed. That's okay.
No, just kind of the argument spoke for itself. Take us out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the Ruckus and The Menace Sports Podcast. This has been a Ruckus and The Menace Sports production. I am Ruckus, always causing a ruckus.
I'm Ruckus and The Menace.
Thank you for listening to this podcast, this awesome podcast. We will not have an episode next week, but we will have our March to Octobers next week, and obviously this week. And then we will see you guys in a couple weeks.
Yep. Deuce.